There are certain areas in national forests that rangers won't enter, not because they're dangerous terrain, not because they're private property, but because every ranger who's worked wilderness areas long enough knows. Some boundaries exist for reasons that aren't written in any manual. Sector 7 in the Mark Twain National Forest of Missouri is one of those areas. If you hike the backcountry trails, you might see its boundary. 12 metal posts, painted bright red, 3 feet tall, spaced exactly 200 feet apart in a perfect circle. They don't appear on Forest Service maps. They don't have official designations. They mark an area rangers call Sector 7, but nobody knows why. Every ranger knows. You don't cross into Sector 7. You don't enter the area the red markers enclose. And you never try to find out why it's restricted. There's a protocol, not written in any manual, but followed by every ranger who's worked Mark Twain. Sector 7 exists. Rangers acknowledge it. Hikers who ask about the red markers are told they mark Sector 7, a restricted area. But rangers don't explain what's restricted. Don't investigate why Sector 7 is forbidden. Don't attempt to remove the markers or determine who placed them. You see the red markers. You stay outside Sector 7. You don't ask questions. This is the story of how that protocol was established. June 8, 2003. Ranger David Chen was conducting a routine trail maintenance patrol in the western section of Mark Twain National Forest. Standard morning inspection. He was walking a fire access road, a service road rangers use for equipment transport and fire suppression. He'd driven this road dozens of times. He knew every turn. At 7:45 a.m., Chen stopped his vehicle. There was something in the road ahead. Metal posts. He got out to investigate. 12 metal posts, painted bright red, each approximately 3 feet tall, arranged in a circle spanning both sides of the fire access road. The posts were spaced exactly 200 feet apart. Chen could tell from their regular placement. The circle had a diameter of roughly 800 feet. Chen examined the nearest post. It was professional quality. Metal construction, bolted into the ground, fresh red paint, no markings, no labels, no indication of who had installed it or why. He radioed his supervisor, Karen Martinez, at 7:52 a.m. I've got unauthorized boundary markers on Fire Road 7, 12 red posts in a circular pattern. They weren't here yesterday. Requesting guidance on removal. Martinez asked, red posts. Are there any signs, any Forest Service markings? Chen, negative. Just red metal posts. No identification. But they're professional installation. These aren't random. Someone brought equipment in here and installed them overnight. Martinez told him to document everything. Take photos. Record GPS coordinates. Don't remove the posts until they could determine who had placed them. Unauthorized installations on federal land were serious. They needed to identify the responsible party. Chen spent the next hour photographing and mapping all 12 posts. He noted their exact positions. The circle they formed was geometrically perfect. The spacing was precise, exactly 200 feet between each post. The installation quality was professional. This wasn't vandalism. This was deliberate, careful work. He submitted his report with photos and GPS coordinates. The Forest Service launched an investigation. No permits had been issued for any installations in that area. No utility companies had work orders. No surveying contracts existed. No government agencies had authorization for boundary markers. The red posts had appeared overnight. Professional quality, precise placement. No one had permission to install them. And nobody knew who was responsible. The Forest Service sent a team to investigate on June 12th. They examined the posts, confirmed Chen's measurements. The circle was mathematically perfect. The posts were identical. Same material, same paint, same installation method. The investigation team concluded someone had installed 12 boundary markers on federal land without authorization. The recommendation: remove the posts. They're unauthorized. No permits exist. Remove them and dispose of them as abandoned property. But when the removal team arrived on June 15th to extract the posts, they found something unexpected. The posts wouldn't come out. They tried digging around the base of one post. The metal shaft extended at least 4 feet into the ground, much deeper than necessary for a 3-foot marker. They tried using a vehicle-mounted winch. The post didn't budge. It was anchored to something underground, something solid. After 3 hours, the removal team gave up, filed a report. Posts are permanently anchored. Extraction would require excavation equipment. Recommend leaving in place unless posts present safety hazard. The Forest Service decided, leave the posts. They're not hurting anything. They mark a circle in a remote section of forest. No trails, no campgrounds, no reason to invest resources in removing them. Update the patrol maps to note the markers. Location. Rangers can avoid the area during routine patrols. The red markers stayed. And for 5 years, rangers just noted them on their maps as, quote, unauthorized markers, origin unknown. Some rangers started calling the area inside the circle Sector 7 inches, an unofficial designation that matched Fire Road 7 where the markers had appeared. Nobody crossed into it. Nobody investigated further. It was just there. April 22nd, 2008, 5 years after the markers appeared. Ranger Michael Torres, 29, 2 years with Mark Twain National Forest, was patrolling Fire Road 7. He'd heard about Sector 7 from other rangers. Seen it marked on the patrol maps. But he'd never actually visited it. Torres drove to Sector 7's boundary, saw the 12 red posts forming their perfect circle. He got out to examine them. They looked exactly as described in Chen's 2003 report. Fresh red paint. Professional installation. No labels. No explanation. Torres radioed his supervisor, James Walsh, at 10:15 a.m. I'm at Sector 7 on Fire Road 7. I'm going to cross the boundary. Document what's inside. Maybe there's something in there that explains why these markers were installed. Walsh responded, Torres, Sector 7 has been restricted since 2003. Nobody's entered that area. There's no protocol for investigating it. Just document the exterior and return to station. Torres said, copy that. But I'm already here. I'll just do a quick walkthrough. 5 minutes. If there's something obvious inside, abandoned equipment, old survey stakes, anything, I'll document it and we can finally close this file. Walsh, Torres, maintain current position. Do not enter Sector 7. That's a direct order. Return to station. But Torres had already started walking. He stepped across the line formed by 2 red posts, entered Sector 7. His radio transmission continued. I'm inside. It's just forest, trees, undergrowth. Nothing unusual. Wait, static. The transmission cut out. Walsh tried to raise him. Torres, respond? What do you see? No response. Just static. Walsh dispatched 2 rangers to Torres's location immediately. They arrived at 10:45 a.m., found Torres's vehicle parked outside Sector 7's boundary. No sign of Torres. They called for him. No response. They searched the perimeter of Sector 7. No signs of disturbance. No tracks leading away. His vehicle was locked. His equipment was inside. His radio was on his belt, but not responding. At 11:20 a.m., one of the search rangers, Lisa Hoffman, walked to the edge of Sector 7 and looked inside. She saw Torres. He was standing approximately 100 feet inside the boundary, not moving, just standing, facing away from her. Hoffman called to him, Torres, what are you doing? Command wants you back at station immediately. Torres didn't respond, didn't turn around. Just stood there. Hoffman stepped across Sector 7's boundary, walked toward Torres. When she got within 20 feet of him, Torres turned around. Hoffman later reported, he looked at me, but it didn't feel like he was seeing me. His eyes were wrong. Not the color, not the shape, just wrong. Like he was looking at something else, something behind me. But there was nothing behind me. Hoffman grabbed Torres's arm, led him back across Sector 7's boundary. Once they were outside, Torres seemed to come back. He looked confused, asked what time it was. Hoffman told him, 11:25 a.m. He'd been inside Sector 7 for over an hour. Torres said he'd only been inside for a few minutes. He'd walked in, looked around, didn't see anything unusual, decided to walk back out. But it had only been minutes, not an hour. The Rangers brought Torres back to the station. He filled out an incident report, stated he'd entered Sector 7 at approximately 10:20 a.m., observed nothing unusual, exited at what he estimated was 10:25 a.m. 5 minutes. But his vehicle's clock showed 11:25 a.m. when they returned. GPS logs confirmed. His radio stopped transmitting at 10:17 a.m. and resumed at 11:23 a.m., 66 minutes unaccounted for. Torres was placed on administrative leave pending evaluation. Medical exam showed no injuries. Psychological evaluation showed no abnormalities. He returned to work 2 weeks later. But something had changed. Other Rangers noticed Torres avoided the Western patrol routes, never drove Fire Road 7. Never went near Sector 7. When asked about what he'd experienced inside, he wouldn't talk about it, just said, "Don't go in there. Sector 7 is restricted for a reason." 3 weeks after returning to work, Torres submitted his resignation, gave 2 weeks' notice. When Walsh asked why he was leaving, Torres said, "I need to work somewhere else, somewhere without a Sector 7. Michael Torres never worked for the Forest Service again. September 14, 2015. 7 years after Torres's incident. The Forest Service was conducting a comprehensive survey of Mark Twain National Forest. Modern GPS mapping, geological assessment, infrastructure documentation. Sector 7 appeared on old patrol maps, so it was included in the survey scope. A professional surveying team arrived at Sector 7's boundary. 12 red posts. Paint now weathered but still visible. Still in a perfect circle, still spaced exactly 200 feet apart. The survey team documented each post's position with precision GPS equipment. Then they examined the geological data. Sector 7 enclosed approximately 800 feet of mixed forest. Standard Missouri terrain. Limestone bedrock under soil and vegetation. Nothing unusual on surface scans. But when the survey team compared the marker positions to geological mapping, they found something impossible. The 12 red posts were positioned at exact points of geological transition, between limestone and sandstone, between high ground and low ground, between water table zones. All 12 markers sat precisely at transition boundaries in the subsurface geology. The survey team's geologist, Drive, Sarah Chen, noted in her report, the marker positions correspond to underground geological boundaries with precision that would require detailed subsurface mapping. This level of geological data would necessitate extensive core sampling and ground-penetrating radar surveys. No such surveys have been conducted in this area, according to Forest Service records. The placement of these markers at geologically significant positions without prior surveying is statistically impossible. The survey team's conclusion: whoever installed Sector 7's boundary markers had access to detailed geological data that shouldn't exist. Or the markers were placed randomly and happened to align with underground geology by impossible coincidence. Neither explanation made sense. The survey report was filed with the Regional Forest Service Office. The recommendation: investigate Sector 7's origin and determine geological significance. But the investigation never happened. The report was classified under Infrastructure, Origin Unknown, and filed. No follow-up, no additional investigation. Just filed. The red markers stayed, and the Forest Service added an official note to patrol maps. Sector 7, restricted area. Rangers do not enter. Not unauthorized markers. Not origin unknown. Just Sector 7, restricted area. The protocol became official. Don't cross into Sector 7. There's a briefing that happens when new rangers join Mark Twain National Forest. Part of it is official. Trail maps, wildlife protocols, fire suppression procedures. Part of it is unofficial. That's when a senior ranger shows them the patrol maps and points to Sector 7. They'll explain. There's an area marked by red posts, 12 posts in a circle. The area inside is called Sector 7. It's not on official maps, but it's on our patrol maps. It's a restricted area. You don't enter it. You don't patrol it. You don't investigate reports of activity inside it. If hikers ask about Sector 7 or the red markers, tell them it's a restricted area. Don't elaborate. The new rangers always ask, restricted why? What's in Sector 7? Who installed the markers? The senior rangers give the same answer every time. We don't know. And we don't investigate. That's the protocol. Most new rangers accept it. Some try to look up the history. They find Chen's 2003 report about the markers appearing overnight. They find Torres's 2008 incident report about losing an hour inside Sector 7. They find the 2015 geological survey noting the impossible placement. They learn the same thing everyone learns. Sector 7 exists, nobody knows why, and rangers don't cross into it. A few new rangers push back, want to know who has the authority to create a Sector 7 inches without official designation, want geological explanations for the impossible placement, want to understand what happened to Torres inside. The senior rangers just repeat, Sector 7 has been there since 2003. The protocol is clear. Don't cross into it. Don't investigate. That's how we work this forest. The Forest Service Operations Manual for Mark Twain National Forest doesn't mention Sector 7. It doesn't appear in any official documentation. But every patrol map, internal maps rangers use for daily operations, shows the circle of 12 red posts with the notation, Sector 7, restricted area, do not enter. There's no official designation, no legal authority, no government order. Just an understanding among rangers. Sector 7 is there. You don't cross into it. Sector 7 is still there, the red markers weathered now, the paint fading. But still standing, still in a perfect circle, still spaced exactly 200 feet apart, still positioned at geological transition points that required data nobody should have. Rangers see Sector 7 on patrols, noted on maps, brief new hires about it, tell hikers it's a restricted area, but rangers don't cross into it. Haven't crossed since Torres in 2008. That was 17 years ago. Nobody knows who installed the boundary markers. Nobody knows why they marked those specific geological positions. Nobody knows what Sector 7 contains. Nobody knows what Torres experienced during his missing hour. And nobody investigates. Because the protocol is clear. Sector 7 is restricted. Rangers do not enter. The markers appeared overnight in 2003. Torres crossed into Sector 7 in 2008 and quit 2 weeks later. A geological survey in 2015 confirmed the markers sit at points that require data nobody obtained. And for 22 years, rangers have obeyed a restriction that has no official designation, no legal authority, and no explanation. Because 22 years of ranger reports all point to the same conclusion. Some boundaries exist for reasons you don't question. Some restrictions aren't official, but everyone follows them anyway. And some areas don't need government authorization because rangers who've seen what happens inside them know the boundaries are there for a reason. Sector 7 has no permits, no official designation, no legal status. It's just an area marked by 12 metal posts painted red, arranged in a perfect circle, enclosing a section of forest rangers won't enter. And every ranger who's worked Mark Twain long enough knows, you don't cross into Sector 7. Not because it's against the rules, because Torres did, and whatever he saw inside made him quit 2 weeks later. The maps say, Sector 7, restricted area. The protocol says, do not enter, and rangers obey a restriction that shouldn't exist, marked by posts placed at points that require impossible data, defining an area nobody can explain. Because Sector 7 is there. And you don't cross into it.